I got a call from one of my incredible speakers, who's Canadian, who was planning to come to New York in April to work with me. She left an email message to my team, and she said, due to the political situation between the US and Canada, I'm no longer aligned with coming to work with you. And of course, I immediately got on a call with her and left a message, and I said, I would really love to talk through this with you. She returned the call. And we had a beautiful conversation on the phone where I expressed that my political leanings are not in alignment with what's going on in this country, and that it's our job to not let anyone silence our voices. And through our conversation, she came to the conclusion that she would come to New York and work with me in the fall. And the tenderness of that conversation reminded me the power of being an influential voice. I wasn't getting on a call to change her mind. I was getting on a call to make sure she felt seen, heard, valued, and that I was an ally. This is the impact of communication and being an influential voice.
This next session is a total game changer in your occupational dimension. Who here has ever wanted to speak on a big stage? Yes? Yes? Raise your hands. Okay, there have to be more of you than that. Okay, yes. Who's terrified of it? Anybody? Yeah? Either way, get ready, because our next speaker is an award-winning director, producer, and author who has helped thousands of professionals step into the spotlight as powerful thought leaders. She's the founder of the Big Talk Academy, former executive producer of TEDx Lincoln Square, and host of the award-winning Big Talk podcast. Her book, The Influential Voice, was a #1 Amazon bestseller, and you're all getting a copy. They're on the table. Plus, y'all, she came with her own video.
I'm really, really excited to bring to the stage a woman who I admire tremendously.
Author, producer,
and speaking coach, Tricia Brouk.
She's not just a regular woman. She's a dancer, storyteller, filmmaker.
When we talk about everything you're doing, you go from film directing, producing, to writing a book and advocating for change.
Tricia Brouk, the author of The Influential Voice.
I'm Tricia Brouk, an award-winning director, producer, author, and founder of the Big Talk Academy.
My entire platform is built on amplifying and elevating voices and the powerful stories that people have to share to make the world a better place.
I give speakers a safe space to come and work on material, risk, fall, fail, and be lifted up by the community of speakers who participate. And that accelerates their experience dramatically. I teach the technique of objective and action so that you have tools to rely on any and every time you take a stage. Pitching is not necessarily how you want to get people to your website or to your business. It's inspiring them. It's being your authentic self so that they want to search for you. As a speaker, it's ultimately about making the world a better place and sharing your message. Your story matters, and by sharing it, you can change and even save a life. I literally wake up every day wanting to make a difference in the world. Amplifying and elevating voices in order to make the world a better place is everything.
Today, she's here to help us all find and share our own influential voice. She's bold, she's brilliant, and she's about to show you how to speak with purpose and power. Give it up for the amazing Tricia Brouk.
Thank you so much, Angela, for that incredible introduction. Maria, for putting together this incredible group of influential voices. Context is really important when it comes to being an effective communicator. If you understand these 3 questions, why does it matter? Why does it matter to me? And why does it matter to the world? Your message and your storytelling will have more impact. Context is important because We want everyone in the room to experience our impact and our voice and our message, even if it's not specifically for them. What I mean by this is, if it has global context, everybody in the room can learn from it. One of my first speakers, Kristen Smedley, she came to me and she said, I want to talk about rare eye disease. I started a foundation many years ago. I have 3 children, 2 were born blind, and I want to talk about rare eye disease. I said, okay, let's have an active listening session. We spent a couple hours. I was asking her questions, and by the end of the talk, I said, Kristen, this talk is not about rare eye disease. This is about how you learn to see the world through the eyes of your children. When you ask the question, why does it matter? For Kristen, she wanted to bring awareness to this disease. Why does it matter to her specifically? Because she has 2 blind kids. Now, this is the most important question. Why does it matter to the world? I, by choice, do not have kids, and I don't actually know any blind children. So why and how can this talk impact me? As soon as I realize it's about how she's seeing through the eyes of her children, that means it's about empathy and compassion. And it immediately becomes something that I can learn from. Asking yourself the question, why does it matter? Why does it matter to you? And why does it matter to the world? Is part of being an impactful and powerful and effective communicator. Let's talk about effective storytelling. Credibility, relatability, and vulnerability. Credibility means you are the credible expert because of your lived experience. You don't have to have a PhD. You don't have to have a book. Because it's your lived experience, you are the credible expert. And it's your point of view that we want to hear from. I am from a small town in Missouri, and I've been living in New York City for over 30 years. So I am very loyal. What I say, I follow through with, and I want it done yesterday. That is my point of view, and that is my credibility. Now, yes, I have a few books. I have been doing this for a while, but it doesn't mean that you can't start using your influential voice before you have a book. Vulnerability. How many times have you watched a speaker cry on stage? What that does is rob you of the emotional experience. Vulnerability does not mean sharing your story with an audience as a group therapy session. Sharing your story vulnerably means you've healed from the trauma and that you're sharing in service of the audience. And if you've not healed from your trauma, then you're not ready. Speaking vulnerably means you are speaking from the scar, not the wound. And having emotion on stage is different from becoming emotional. When you become emotional, the audience has to take care of you. And it is not the audience's job to take care of the speaker. It is our job to take care of you and to be in service of you. Be very mindful of when you are speaking vulnerably and why you are speaking vulnerably. And then relatability. Eye contact. Energetic connection. Yes, I'm the expert on the stage, but it's my job to be open and welcoming so that you feel like you can relate to me. It's my job to be able to speak and to show up and to serve you in that way so that I'm making eye contact. I'm showing gratitude. I'm smiling. These are very subtle ways that you can connect to your audience. Never look above the audience, back into where the camera is. See how disconnected you feel right now? So see who you're speaking with. Allow yourself to relate. This is a scene. You are my scene partner. That's what being relatable means. Performance and delivery is equally as important to how to effectively communicate. And you know that I'm a former dancer. We're going to talk about choreography. However, so, you know, and like, right? Just stop saying them. You don't need to say those words. And the reason that you are saying them is because you're uncomfortable with silence. There's nothing uncomfortable with silence. It's actually quite powerful. And that breath where there's nothing being said, so much is being said. Give yourself permission to eliminate these filler words and only choose the words that are having impact. Have you seen a speaker who wanders while they're talking? Back and forth? What are you thinking? Where are they going? Are they trying to get steps in? Think about why you're moving when. There's the shifter. They don't know they're doing it. No one's directed them not to. So those nerves hit and they're shifting. As a performer, as a speaker, knowing why you're moving when and when you're still is really important. How many speakers have you seen say something really important? And that's the exclamation point. Or they don't know they're doing it. They're speaking. Every time they finish, they slap their thighs. You're going to start seeing all these bad habits now that I'm bringing them to your attention. Backing up. That immediately disconnects me from you, which can be intentional if I want you to feel disconnected. If I want to feel more intimate with you, I can come closer. I could even come down here and walk around. Think about why you're moving, when you're moving, and if you begin to create scripts for yourself, put the blocking and the choreography into the script. If I want to say something really, really important and I'm stage left and I want to have it land center stage, I'm going to walk across in silence. And I'm going to say the important thing. If I'm saying something that's not quite that important, but I want Christina to know it, I'm going to walk stage left and I'm going to see her, I'm going to speak to her, and then I'm going to open up to the rest of the audience. And then, if I really want to keep that feeling going where I know this side of the room needs to hear from me, I'm going to use Angela as my point person. I'm going to cross stage right, and then I'm going to open up to the rest of the room. And then if I forget what I'm going to say, I simply lower my gaze and say it. And that is going to show the audience that you have something super important to say because you went inward for a second. If you do this, that's you thinking. So as a performer and an influential voice, it's important to also understand that every single movement, choreography, and blocking needs to be intentional. And these tools and these techniques can be used over and over again. You can learn how to be an amazing speaker and performer. It's not just luck. You have to show up, rehearse, and understand what it means to be an effective communicator. Let's talk about the difference between motivating and manipulating. I talked about the fact that you're my scene partner a minute ago. When I direct actors, it's my job to create a safe space so that they play the scene authentically and truthfully. If they're schmacting, they're not playing the scene truthfully, they're actually acting. And we never want to see an actor act. We want to see a scene play out. We want to see the truth of two characters having an exchange. So our job is to know what we want from an audience and how to get it, our objective and our action. When you're playing a scene with an actor, your actor's job is to know what they want from the other actor. It's my job to know what I want from you. The most obvious thing I want from you is your attention. I also want you to think differently, to start using your influential voice, to read my book. Those are the things I want from you, and those are my objectives. How do I get it? I play an action. Now, what's great news is that as human beings, we all practice the skill and the technique of objective and action, which is what I teach my actors and my speakers. You want your kids to go to bed? That's your objective. You want your partner to take out the trash? That's your objective. How do you get them to do that? Nag, ask, seduce. Those are the actions that you play in order to motivate an audience. And it's not manipulation. It's being a masterful speaker, understanding the skill of objective and action. New York City 2025. A lot going on. I got a call from one of my incredible speakers, who's Canadian, who was planning to come to New York in April to work with me. She left an email message to my team, and she said, due to the political situation between the US and Canada, I'm no longer aligned with coming to work with you. And of course, I immediately got on a call with her and left a message, and I said, I would really love to talk through this with you. She returned the call. And we had a beautiful conversation on the phone where I expressed that my political leanings are not in alignment with what's going on in this country, and that it's our job to not let anyone silence our voices. And through our conversation, she came to the conclusion that she would come to New York and work with me in the fall. And the tenderness of that conversation reminded me the power of being an influential voice. I wasn't getting on a call to change her mind. I was getting on a call to make sure she felt seen, heard, valued, and that I was an ally. This is the impact of communication and being an influential voice. And I see all of you in here and know the impact that you have and will continue to have. And I want to give you permission to step into the courage of having these kinds of conversations. Real Housewives of New York, Season 5. Many years ago, I directed, choreographed, and wrote a parody musical called 50 Shades of Effed Up. The idea of a young college girl who doesn't have a computer, who is a virgin, who then lets her boyfriend hit her, I had problems with. So I wrote a parody musical about this book. And throughout this process, we had a very long run at the Triad Theater on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. The Real Housewives of New York got wind of my show and started coming to see it and approached me to become a producer. Now, if any of you know about producing theater in New York City, it's difficult. I self-produced everything. So thinking about somebody putting money into my show so it could have a longer run was interesting, but I knew I didn't want to be on a reality TV show, especially with them. But my husband said, you should think about it. It could be really good for your show. And part of the agreement was I would be on the show as the director of 50 Shades of Effed Up, and they would put capital into my production. So I thought about this. No. And the next day, page 6, Countess Luann was arrested. I trusted my influential voice to know what was right for me. That is also really important. Yes, it's about service. But when you think about what is right for me, how do I want to show up as an influential voice for myself, for my community, for my family? Think about everything that comes into your orbit and your world and make very discerning decisions on what's right for you. And your voice matters. Your voice is your truth. And remember that your influential voice needs to be trusted by you at all times. Being an influential voice means you embrace your passion. You know your purpose. You communicate effectively. You trust yourself, and you are clear on the role that you play. It has been my true privilege and honor to be up on this stage in service of you today. And I would love to invite you to grab this free on-demand masterclass called Command Any Room. Just take a picture of this QR code so that you can continue to think about how to use your influential voice, how to walk into any room and have the confidence to command it, because we need your voices. Your voice matters, and I can't wait to see the impact that you have by using it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tricia, for that wonderful message, for inspiring us to feel more confident, capable, and called to step into our purpose. Her message today reminded us that our voices, our true voices, are not just powerful, but they're essential. Let's give another huge round of applause for Tricia Brouk.